Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about what I consider to be the most important factor for being able to max safely. Because this is one of the things that comes up. People are like, well, lifters need to earn the right to max out. They need to learn good form. And I'm not going to disagree with that, but the problem we come down to is, well, what is good form? And just because something looks like textbook good form doesn't mean that when you get under a max barbell or you start hitting weights above 90% that it's going to stay good form. Because that is something that you need to understand. And if you're a strength coach, you understand that. Hopefully, if you're a trainer at all, you understand that. That when the weights get heavy, weak muscles make form get bad. Okay, your weakest muscle group can cause compensatory strength issues that makes your form degrade. So what is your good form at that point? Well, good form is ultimately about the ability to brace. That's what I consider to be the requisite good form. Now, some things should be common sense. Can you bench press without racking your wrists all the way back? Right. Can you squat without it looking like a taco? Or without your knees sliding 37 inches in front of your toes? But if you're learning to box squat correctly and things, that's not going to happen. If you squeeze the bar as hard as you can before you unrack a bench press, that's not going to happen. Right? A lot of these problems that we would think of as just really horrific, they go away as soon as everything gets tight. What do I mean by brace? And remember, bracing and breathing are not the same thing. Anybody can breathe. Bracing is, are you contracting your abs tightly? Which, by the way, is why we wear a belt. So that you can brace your core against it. I get that comes with it too. I think I need to make more videos on that too. I had someone actually say, like a troll coming and making a joke, yeah, that belt's sure helping you on the bench. I'm like, yes, it is. And he didn't reply back, so we didn't get into a discussion. But yeah, it does help. Why wouldn't it help? It's giving me something to contract my abs against. That's exactly what we want. That's what we want on any big lift. So, over to the point, it's about bracing. It's about the radiant effect we get. And what do we mean by bracing there? Again, contracting your abs. Taking a deep breath, then using the diaphragm and getting a belly full of air and pressing it. Okay, that's the key to doing heavy good mornings. Like, guys see me doing these heavy good mornings, like, oh my God. Well, I'm going to get to 500-600 pounds on these eventually. That's a goal. It's not dangerous. You want to know what's dangerous? Rolling your back over at the top. Okay, turning it into a starting strength looking squat when you do a good morning. Okay. Maybe not using safeties. Yes, and I understand in Olympic gyms they don't, but they also do Olympic weightlifting. They do Olympic squats, which is not what we do if our goal is to hit the heaviest squat possible. Okay. You're not maxing out and trying to lift the heaviest weight if you're doing an Olympic squat. You're hitting a heavy weight to get good at power cleans, which is fine. I mean, you can max on that too. But we're looking at abdominal bracing, because that's what we mean by good form. Good form means, are you tight? Doesn't mean that everything's in a textbook perfect bar path, because that's not always going to happen on a true max. Not always going to happen. And again, it's going to break down oftentimes anyway. So you can practice all day long with beautiful form and a nice slow controlled movement at 70 or 80% all day long. It's still not going to transfer to your maxes. So, you'll see that and like, oh, I want to see good form. Well, okay, fine. I want to see tightness. I want to see bracing. I want to see if a lifter can push their hips back on any lift that we need to push our hips back on. I want to see if they can brace their abdominal wall. I want to know that they have strong abs and a strong core. I want to see them squeeze the holy hell out of the bar. Okay, that's what we want to see. That's what keeps us from getting hurt when we max out. Now, am I saying that that's going to guarantee we don't get hurt? No, but you know what? You can get hurt going to failure on a curl. You can get hurt walking to the water fountain and tripping and falling in gym. You could die that way. Okay? Could happen. You could trip and fall in the middle of the weight room, trip over your shoelaces and die. You could break your neck and die. So I'm not saying it guarantees that we're not going to get hurt, but it certainly cuts the risk down. If everything is tight, it's looseness that hurts us. That's one reason when we start failing 4 and 5 rep sets or even 3 rep sets, that's why we get hurt on them if we fail reps. Not the missing the lift, it's not the heavy weight pushing us down. It's the fact that we got loose from fatigue. The fact that we got loose from fatigue. But if you're braced correctly, we don't get loose from fatigue on a 1 rep max. You're only doing 1 rep. There's no fatigue. Either you get stapled or you don't. If the weight comes straight down because you stayed tight, what happens? Very rarely get hurt unless we get crushed under the weight in some way. Well, that's why we have safeties, right? Your squat rack, you got safeties. Your bench, you've got safeties. Okay, we have stuff in place. I mean, in certain cases, you could use a spotter, but you need to make sure that your spotters are competent and you know what you're doing. And you need to learn to train differently with a spotter than when you don't have one. It's totally different. Make sure they're competent, that they understand what to do. Because when you're maxing, it's not the same thing. Like you'll see guys who'll say that too. It's like you're better off using safeties. You don't want to use a single spotter behind you on a max squat. Because when you miss a max squat, it doesn't grind. It goes straight down. Okay, and if that guy's behind you, it could be a problem. You could hurt him and you. There's only one guy there and he's not strong enough to easily lift the weight that you're squatting. And he pulls that thing and he puts his arms around you and tries to help you lift it and pushes your air out. Okay, that's not going to work with a max squat. Just use safeties. Okay, use safety arms, use safety straps, chains, arms, whatever you have available. Use the safeties and set them to the appropriate height. But the main thing is that we need to learn how to brace. And it all gives a radiant effect. Now people say, well, why the squeezing the hands? What does that matter? It locks your wrists in. It's easier to keep your wrists stacked. And it's easy to stay tight. Because if you squeeze the bar really, really hard, you're not going to get loose. If you brace your abs really, really tight, when a weight pulls you, it tends to pull you straight down, not forward. So when you miss a deadlift, it goes straight down. It doesn't pull you all the way forward and round your back over. Squat doesn't pull you forward and round your back over. It drives you straight down like a hammer driving a nail into those safeties. And that sounds scary, but you guys have seen me fail squats well over 500 pounds and hit the safeties. And just crawl out from under it, bounce up like it's no big deal and finish my workout. Okay, it's not a big deal. Because you're tight. You make sure that you have a strong core, strong abs, strong lower back. If you've done all that stuff and you've learned how to get tight, it's pretty safe to max out. Again, in the context of appropriate programming, appropriate workloads, fatigue management, overuse. We already explained how to do all that on this channel, don't we? Right? We discuss how to program conjugate, in which we max on 2 different lifts every single week. We max out twice a week. We max out twice a week. And we know how to program around it for fatigue management. So if your fatigue management's on point, you're addressing overuse, you know how to brace, you know how to get tight, and you have appropriate safety arms or straps or slings, then what's the problem? Not a big deal. Alright guys, well that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.